Welcome to episode 483 of This Week in League. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Glenn.
Boys, how we doing?
Fucking great. Microphone's in front of my face. Job one for the evening. Sorted.
And I just said to you, I mean, it sounds so good, make a beat bug fucking slide off its toadstool.
Yeah. I'll flick that beat bug in its fucking asshole.
So Glennie, your bush doctorism shit is getting uncanny now. I mean,
not a good week to be to have Jackson in your name and have a dodgy ankle.
Yeah, and being directly responsible for your mental health.
That's true.
I mean, let's face it. For whatever reason, you've entrusted that ability to Jackson Hastings as well.
Maybe. Yeah, there's a lot of synergy there. A lot of synergy. But I will say it was only the hard, dry potato field of the Toowoomba Touch Football Association grounds that put paid to young Jackson's ankle rather than an act of absolute fucking treachery and grubbishness that put paid to Jackson Hastings' season.
If you're loading up the scales, though, like, you know, the scales of justice, and you kind of try and balance it, and you go, okay, you got the circumstances that led to Jackson Hastings, which I'm sure we'll talk about when it comes time for the game, and then we've got the circumstances, like Jackson Hastings was essentially carrying two guys as he was brought to ground.
Yep.
And then, like, your son was carrying you.
He was probably carrying a few grown-ass men.
He was carrying you as he went to ground. Like, I mean, I'm no bush doctor, but it seems like there's more in common with these situations.
Something's got to give.
So essentially what you're saying is Glennie has produced somehow a voodoo doll of the man that would end up playing 13 for his club.
Yeah, he's basically just, I don't know if it's like his aura or whatever it is, but it's just, he's just had like what you would, like the equivalent of like an EMP with his aura, and it's just fucking shattering fucking legs and ankles of every Jackson that means anything to him in the fucking southeast Queensland region.
Did you see that movie with Liv Tyler in it? Where she had like this psychic
Lord of the
link.
Rings?
No, she had this psychic link with a fucking like Godzilla monster.
Oh no, was that Liv Tyler? That was Anne Hathaway, wasn't it?
Oh, was it Anne Hathaway? Oh,
yeah, and that movie was fucking great and weird as shit.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and there was that guy, like the abusive ex-friend or whatever from the old hometown or whatever.
You know who else is great and weird as shit? Me.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So you
definitely have a psychic link to some kind of fucking kaiju thing.
No,
abusive kaiju.
I'm saying Jackson has a psychic link to Jackson Hastings.
That's it.
It's just a week late.
Takes a bit to get down the mountain.
It's just week period. I mean, was it the same leg? I think it might have been.
Possibly. Wow.
Stop talking about that like it's some sort of grand, like it's a 50-50 chance. Like, you know, no, the same leg?
It's a mind blown.
Well, this week in centipede footballers.
Oh, fuck.
Right. Shall we get into the games, fellas? Unless you've got more, unless anyone else wants to talk about their weekend. Did you get a game on the weekend, Granny?
Whilst we're talking about injuries at touch football, the great man, Bradley, dislocated his shoulder at touch football on Saturday.
Dislocated his shoulder at touch football, like a non-contact sport.
Yeah, dived. A guy, he's a very competitive man now, Bradley. And a guy that, let's just say, he's not a particularly huge fan of within the touch football community. He was on the other team and had got a bit of an outball and was slightly on the outside of him. He had to turn and chase and make a bit of a dive in order to make the touch. Made the touch and hit the ground and shoulder popped.
The old Tommy Turbo.
Yeah, shoulder popped out at the front.
Whoops.
And he's in fucking world of hurt today. So,
fucking bet. I bet. I thought you were going to say you got injured. Like, yeah,
nah, man.
You rolled your ankle.
Nah.
You're okay. You were just out there fucking catching Z's on the wing, weren't you?
No, I was made a couple of defensive stops. There was one time where the ball was in and around my general periphery. And
where were your A and B defenders?
Oh, fucking nowhere. I didn't know where I was, let alone where the A's and the B's were, but I fucking threw my hand, my tiny little fucking few digits up in the air, and it managed to make contact with the ball and stop to try, and the fucking boys on the bench went nuts, and fuck yeah, great stop. I was like, boys, just tone it down. That was as much of an accident as my second child.
Oh, lovely.
Wow.
All right. Well, it's good to see. It's good to see you killing it over there in the touch. Lighten up the fucking Toowoomba touch.
I'm really not. I'm slowly but surely getting a little bit week by week and training session by training session, getting a little bit more air in the lungs. I've got a long way to fucking go, but that's my goal. Just get a bit fitter and contribute a bit more, and maybe the Brett Plowman type winger might become more of a Glennie Mamalo. Slow turning circle.
Yeah, they're fucking...
With a tally-ho paper vertical leap.
Cosplaying as Talakai out there.
He's cosplaying as fucking like as mid-season fucking Sam Cassiano at the moment.
Yes,
and by the end of the season, hopefully you can get down to fucking off-season Cassiano. Or pre-season Cassiano.
Yeah, maybe start of the season, 1 week after pre-season.
Kind of like first trial game. Yeah. First trial game Cassiano.
Yeah. Let's not set the bar too high.
Right, okay, round 20. Let's go, fuckers. The first game, Thursday night, the Mighty Manly Sea Eagles 10 defeated the Sydney Roosters 20 at Brookvale Oval in a fucking epic upset for the ages. The Roosters tries to Daniel Tupou, Nat Butcher and Joey Manu Walker 2 conversions and 2 penalty goals. And the Sea Eagles tries to Andrew Davey and my main man Alfred Smalley with a conversion from Ruben Garrick.
Look, before you go and...
Sorry, go say what you want, mate.
Much has been said, and rightfully so, about the Eagles being under strength. And I thought that they were very gallant in their performance. But the Roosters... There's a lot to say about the Roosters and their inability to blow Manly off the park like many thought they should.
Well,
I think
the fact that they absolutely should have.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about the Roosters, and you know, I think Robbo used the term that you know, they lacked ruthlessness, but just there's you have to give Manly credit for the way that they battled, but the Roosters were not anywhere near as good as what they should have been against that opposition.
Yeah, I like these ones because it's almost a bit of a palate cleanser for rugby league. Like, you get so used to just what you're used to seeing week in, week out, and there are good teams and there are bad teams and this. But it's easy to forget that the fucking 80 minutes that those guys play out there is legitimately probably the most difficult team sport in the world from the point of view of attrition and contact and what you have to mentally get yourself through. So much so that it is easy for a team to be out there and not be at their best, and for a team that's nowhere near the talent level that they should be to just be on fire and tuned in.
Mm.
And just how that brings them together. I can't really think of any other sport in the world. Like, if you get any of the American sports and put, you know, just a team of vastly superior athletes on the field or the court or whatever they fucking call that thing in diamond cricket. But the team with the superior athletes just fucking
right up punchy. What was it? Punchy cuddles or something.
Oh,
yeah.
So dismissive of sports he doesn't like and understand.
Diamond cricket. Might just toddle off to the diamond cricket, and tomorrow we'll catch a bit of punchy cuddle.
You wait till I start talking about broom screech. fucking next.
There was one last year with fucking, what was it? Some spinny tights, fucking spinny tights guy or something.
But yeah, like, and you know, Nate, you can have the bulk of the comments on this one. But Manly took an opportunity, and you know, yeah, at the end of the day, people remember the winners, and in the scheme of things, no one will look back on this game and remember it for anything more than it was. But the Roosters should be disappointed with that performance, especially the shit from people like JWH.
He just got he just got rustled. Like, he got rustled by a fucking Jersey Flegg kid. Who got
pre-debutant, who shouldn't have been a debutant.
He shouldn't have been a debutant, but from the fact that I think that he had a last name that made headlines, which sort of was a great PR move. But the fact is, fucking, like, you know, the year after next or whatever, he's going to be fucking good. I mean, he's got a bit of that, like, sort of Watmo build about him. And I don't think he's going to be like a freak of nature, like athlete that Watmo was in his prime. But he's still got some of those, and he's got that fucking cunt in him that I love. And I mean, now you're seeing the things come out as people review the game audio. And like he said before, he got the elbow from Ria Hargraves. He said, you should fucking retire to him. And he got that. And then at the end of the game, when they had like when they're doing the handshake thing, and like Ria Hargraves was trying to talk to him, and he wasn't fucking having it. He wasn't having it at all, and he was trying to walk away. And Letters kept like, trying to pull him back, like, you know, to keep talking to him. And Letters said to him then, he said, "Oh, you're a cocky little cunt." And they said, "You're a cocky little prick, aren't you?" And he said, "Well, you're an old cunt." And like, just like, whatever you say about Letters, I mean, like, he's an extremely long tenured fucking hard man in the game, and like a kid to come in probably before his time and just fucking give it to him off the bat and perform well as well. I mean, I love seeing that sort of shit. And like, this is a game, like, I'll remember this game because I felt fucking happier after this game than I've felt after some wins, to be honest. I mean, there were some little narratives that I was just hoping would happen through the game, and one of them was a good game for Alfred Smalley. And as it turns out, I mean, he looks like he looks like a young, George Tafua. I mean, he folded fucking Letters in again, going back to Ria Hargraves, he folded him in the first 5 minutes. And which started him off on his fucking brain fade of a game, you know, at least in terms of aggression, and he got his try at the end. And I mean, my missus was watching the game as well, and I was fucking riding him like a fucking like I was right at the front of the pack in the Melbourne Cup, fucking down the straight. And when he scored, it was fucking it was the scenes in my house. I did fucking lap to the lounge room. I loved it, and but yeah, like, I would love to see more of him going forward, and. The funny, like, he's like essentially a part-time player. I mean, the most part-time player in the game was really the difference in the game. Really, I mean, the Roosters were beaten in every aspect of this game except for like just the talent of the players that they had. I mean, it was really just like you guys like Manu and Teddy and Suali that were kind of the difference in the entire game, as well as a bit of bad luck, like, you know, Daly almost jagged a ridiculous try. And that was the game where it really shouldn't have been, because I mean, they scored very easily in the first 10 minutes there, with where I thought the biggest liabilities. I mean, the biggest liabilities I thought would be on both wings, because there were two guys that were making their debut, and they were they'd never come close to first grade in the past. And I mean, like, Pio over on the left or on our right, he's like a fucking Ron Massey player. Like, legitimately, like, and I mean, it was a poor read from him for that first try that they scored over on their left. But other than that, they performed really fucking well. And I mean, at 18-6 at half time, I was pretty happy that they contained them to that much, because it looked like they could have done more. But then the way they lifted in the second half, and the Roosters, they couldn't do anything because they were just out enthused. And then there was some good game planning as well in the second half as well. Where they basically hid Pio on the side. I mean, he had to be in the side for the 80 minutes, obviously, as a winger, but they basically hid him. And when it came down to, like, you know, the fourth tackle, you had Daly and Dylan Walker and guys like that dropping back on the wing to take the high balls, to run it back, and, you know, to make sure that there was nothing happening down that side. But I mean, having said that, with Pio as well, even in the first half, I mean, when there was a high ball to be taken, I mean, he was jumping up to take it. He was taking carries early in the sets. So everyone contributed, and guys like Bullimore, who I feel hasn't had the shot that he deserved in first grade so far, and he played 80 minutes and looked fucking great, and so he's certainly stamped himself as someone that, with guys like Davey and that leaving at the end of the year, I think he's put his hand up for like more work in the in the starting side.
I don't think
forward.
they bought Bullimore for this year. I thought this, with obviously guys and contracts expiring, they took advantage of being able to get hold of him now, but with a view to next year and the year after.
Yeah, and like even Siggy hasn't played for like fucking 1,000 years. And like even when he came on for his 15, 20 minute stint at the end, he was good.
Yeah.
He made some great runs. I mean, he defended strong. It was everyone did their fucking job. Even like your Marty Tapowers, even he lifted. So, and it was obviously like monster games from DCE and Foz and the guys that you would expect. Dylan Walker, I mean, he was fucking huge as well in the game out in the centres, and like they had to work overtime, and it was just the combinations of too many pieces in links and everything out of commission that just stopped them, from being able to. And if the game had gone a little bit longer, maybe they could have got some more too, because that move down the left hand side that they always do. It actually they botched it once. Like the last pass was behind Smalley, and then he got his try. They really just needed they actually started getting some success through there.
Yeah,
and that's because they were literally learning they were learning the combinations on the go. Like Smalley, I remember I saw a lot of media around him after the game, and he was he played on Sunday, had a short turnaround, and most of these guys they hadn't met. Like Pio especially, he hadn't met anyone. He met everyone on Tuesday and played on Thursday. So it was fucking nuts. But look, the guys represented the jersey exactly the way, like more than I could have expected. And and then ultimately, like in the aftermath too, I think it's actually started a conversation, which like the day after, like on the Saturday or the Sunday after that, then you had Toby Rudolph in a very, it was a very soft and couched with his words way, but I mean, essentially, coming out as like bisexual, which he wouldn't have done. He wouldn't have done that had the
just to clarify, he actually said in the article that he identifies as heterosexual.
Yeah, and he also said that nothing is off limits. Love is love. I've snogged on with guys, snogged on with girls, etc.
100%, but he did say he identifies as heterosexual.
Yeah.
So
and then saying that he'd fucking bang anything that moved.
Like, so it's not.
Yeah, look. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
This isn't like Noffa saying he identifies as an Origin player, and everyone else going, "No, you fucking don't." We want to let him fucking.
How do we do
this? And this is the thing. Like I said, it was a very soft and couched his words thing, but in the men's game, it's the closest thing we've had anything on that subject in 28 fucking years.
Fucking oath it is.
So that was something.
Yep. Beautiful.
Oh, and generally speaking, the people, like the listeners and everything, I found quite good with some exceptions. But, it's a large and diverse community. And so obviously you got to, I would never expect 100% homogenous views across the entire listenership.
Yep.
However, mostly, pretty happy.
Fantastic. Socials.
Oh, let's see. Which ones does he pick?
Terry. Dylan Walker playing in a game where players stand down for moral beliefs. Yeah, nah. Joe. He said, I'll tell you what, I've spent the entire year shitting on DCE whenever I had the chance, but I've got mad respect for that man tonight. He stood up, led his club this week, and tried his ass off all night. Next week, I'll go back to scheduled programming, but tonight he gets a nod. There you go. Rishi. He said, if you're not on the Smalley train, you're a commie.
Agreed.
Matthew. Manly with a moral victory, which is to be expected when they had 17 blokes who have morals. Ryan. Roosters really deserving of their place on the ladder. Couldn't even beat the most underdog team in modern NRL history by more than 10 points. If Manly make it into the finals after this with the teams we've drawn, we will be flying under the radar so much. we're little maroon and white submarines. Jack, he said, can someone tell me if there has been a decent Thursday night game this year? I went through the results, and while there have been some memorable moments, Latrell's 2-point field goal, Titans versus Tigers game of AIDS, Morgan Harper gaslighting Freddie into picking Talakai, there is not a single game I would rate as top quality. Seems like Thursday night football has become the new Monday night footy, just with bigger clubs. # fuck the Broncos. Nice. Is that, you reckon that's accurate?
I hadn't really
I don't
given
know.
it much
I'd have to
thought,
think about it.
but
I mean,
yeah.
he only sort of gave like a couple of examples of the moments, so I'd have to go back as well and go through. I mean, surely we've had some decent games, but look, it can be the Monday night football. But I mean, we've had like Friday 6 p.m. as well. I mean, that's a contender.
Oh, there's been some good games at 6.
Yeah, there has, but there's also been some fucking absolute diabolical.
Yeah,
games.
but that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
He can't think of good ones on Thursday, which is odd. Isn't Thursday the second pick Channel 9 get?
That I don't know.
Like, isn't that how it works? Like, they pick 2 Fridays, then Fox picks Super Saturday, and then they
Because
pick
Fox
Thursday?
Fox has the first Friday. Fox has the 6 p.m. slot, and Channel 9's got the 8 o'clock slot. So maybe Channel 9 go Friday, Sunday afternoon, Thursday maybe.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
maybe.
fucking-
I mean, I'm just speculating, just
Anyway.
based on the games that I think are the
Yeah,
prime slot games. You know.
that's it. All good.
The Melbourne Storm 24 defeated the Warriors 12 in Mount Smart. The Storm's 24 tries to Olam, Meaney, Grant and Hughes. Meaney 2 conversions and a penalty goal to Meaney and a penalty goal to Munster. The Warriors tries a hat-trick to Edward Cozy. No conversions from any motherfucker. The Storm have broken their losing streak,
They have.
albeit in unconvincing fashion.
Yeah, I feel like the Storm never looked comfortable. They'll definitely take that as a much-needed win against pretty committed opposition. I thought the Warriors showed a real spirit playing out of New Zealand again, and they showed up to play. And Melbourne were a long way still from their best, and it was all a bit clunky at stages, but they managed to manufacture a win, which when you're a side of the calibre of Melbourne, they're probably accustomed to winning when they play poorly, but the last 4 weeks has been exceptionally poor by their standards, and they've just been several paces off, and this is a step in the right direction, but they're a long way from convincing, as you say.
Yeah.
The 2 points is an important thing for them, no doubt.
Yeah,
Just to arrest the slide.
Yeah.
exactly. Did anyone miss the Kiwi commentators during the COVID time? No one missed them? Because I fucking sure as
Mate,
hell didn't.
I rarely listen to the commentators anyway,
Yeah.
so when you said that, I was just like, okay, fuck.
Who is it? Is it still Daryl Halligan?
I don't know the guy's name, to be honest, but just listening to the passages of play, I was just fucking, oh my days.
Yeah. No,
No,
terrible.
thank you. But at the end of the day, it got them back into their chosen profession rather than erecting scaffold during COVID time when there was no rugby league being played in New Zealand. So
Jesus Christ.
all power to them.
Nice. Ben, he said, we need to have an honest conversation. All the songs sung and roses thrown at the Warriors for keeping the comp going needs to finish. They are an embarrassment to their fans. That game was theirs and they folded like a lawn chair. The club is forever a laughingstock and no one should ever feel that they have any chances while SJ is at the helm.
Fuck. Meanwhile, you've got Craig Bellamy saying they should start the comp with 6 points before balls kick next year.
Yeah. Look, the frustrating thing for me about the Warriors is they come out and they put out a performance like that, which is, if they'd have done that against some of the other teams they've played in the last month, they would have had, double the amount of wins. But then they're in that position where they've got a brand new coach. Is Stacey Jones been extended, or is there?
I haven't heard anything.
Or is he still
No,
just a
man,
caretaker?
He's still
caretaker.
caretaker, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so they're in a fucking tumultuous situation where they've got a coach who the boys obviously love, who probably won't be long term. Or, they may turn around and sign him. But
Yeah, are you backing the Warriors to get that decision right? I'm fucking not.
No.
It seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Give the cunt the
they
job.
signed Nathan Brown when they literally had a body of recent work in Newcastle to fucking adjudicate his coaching skills. It's like the fucking dogs buying Trent Barrett. Like there's a body of work that you can judge this guy on. So I mean, you don't go and try and eat. You don't try and eat at a fucking restaurant that's like got 0 stars on Yelp. I mean, fucking right.
Oh, I love it. Fucking love it. Grover. He said, for fuck's sake, is there any chance we can keep our backline on the field? We need Coates back ASAP and a few more Ollams. Indeed you do. Welcome
You got an offer, though. You got an offer.
Mediocrity. Michael. He said, hashtag Stormsageddon. Fuck yeah, we are awesome. Back to our best. Narrowly beating a quality side with finals on the line. Once we get an offer, we will be unstoppable.
Fuck me, dead.
There we go.
I've never heard a Storms fan fucking do a comment like that. like knowing, like actually like cognizant of where they are at the moment in terms of the pecking order.
I'm not sure he's actually a Storms fan.
Well, that would explain it then, because I think they're incapable of it.
Lovely.
The Parramatta Eels 34 defeated the Penrith Panthers 10 at CommBank Stadium. The Eels 34 came through a double to Micah Sivo, a double to Reid Marnie, Papali'i and Gutherson with tries. Moses 5 of 6 conversions, defeating the Panthers 10 with tries to Sean O'Sullivan and Liam Martin. One conversion to Sean O'Sullivan.
What say you, Jay?
Look, the obvious one in this one's the Cleary tackle. And
I think it's important to note, though, that the Eels were fucking all over them before that tackle.
I think it's also fucking important to note that they're in a very similar position than they were against Cronulla the week before and have been against many teams this season where they're down 10-0, 12-0, whatever it may be, nil, and then turn around just before halftime and just after halftime absolutely anally gate people. So enjoy the Parramatta narrative, though. It's interesting to see you on that horse. I'm not sure it suits you.
But, I love talking up the Eels because fucking Eels. Let me tell you, I'll tell you right now, the Eels. It's like this. Look, I've mentioned this before. I'm sure, but there was this period back in the day, like in the late '90s or early 2000s, in boxing. You remember, like, Glennie's a boxing aficionado. You remember Prince Naseem Hamed, and remember how he'd fuck everybody up with his stupid fucking bendy fucking pokey style, right? He was unbeaten.
Have you seen him recently?
I've not. I haven't. So park that and tell me about it. But and he beat like absolutely everyone. Then over the other side, you had fucking Marco Antonio Barrera, who was a good boxer. Then you had Junior Jones, who was like this old fucking journeyman guy, right? So Marco Antonio Barrera, he comes out and fucking puts it on Naseem, and in the rematch. And then Junior Jones, this old journeyman, he fucking put it on He put it on Marco Antonio Barrera twice as well. And these three fighters, like styles make fights. And for some reason, the Parramatta Eels over the last 2 years have a style that seems to match up extremely well against the Penrith Panthers when not many others do. Yet, in the next breath, they can get fucking pounded by the Dogs.
So the
dogs are Junior Jones.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
So the critical piece of information is who's Prince.
Well, look, I mean, I guess the Panthers at this point.
It doesn't awful well.
Wasn't he the one that he'd dance around and he wouldn't put his hands up and
backflip over the fucking ropes?
And he'd sort of pivot at the waist a lot, at the hips, yeah.
So they won a premiership on defence. How are they the one guy with no defence?
His defence was
because
fucking
his defence was his movement.
His defence was exceptional because no one could touch him.
His defence
was until they did.
Yeah, he was like the Matrix crossed with fucking Fortnite emotes.
Yeah. The thing is, you can't beat something you can't hit.
How good
until you fucking hit it.
And that's the thing. Like I have zero respect. In terms of the entire premiership, like the grand final race, zero respect for the Eels unless they somehow find themselves if they found themselves in a position in a grand final against the Panthers, then I would rate them a reasonable chance to win.
I still think first time
I don't think they could beat any of the teams required to get to the grand final. Like, which is just a fucking conundrum, and it must be infuriating to the Eels fans when they see performances like this, obviously exacerbated, due to the send-off, but... Yeah. And then they get fucking absolutely obliterated by the Cowboys, obliterated by the Doggies.
Yeah, okay, so the Eels scored some points, but it's not like you get those teams and they're great teams, but they're great when they're in front. And any time someone puts early couple of tries on them, they hurt and they don't know how to come from behind. They don't know how to stay in the game and build pressure and stick to their game plan for 80 minutes. Penrith have leaked 2 tries, I think, in 3 or 4 occasions I can think of in the last half a dozen rounds. And it just doesn't fucking bother them. So I do push back a bit on this whole Parramatta was well on top thing, because they fucking weren't. They might have thought they were, but,
They were. The only thing you're saying they're not is because of some historical thing where the sides that don't match up as well against them, they come back just before halftime.
So the only reason I think something would happen is because of the numerous times I had seen that exact same thing happen before.
But not against that side that we're saying matches up well, because it hasn't.
But they don't match up well.
Well, I mean, they beat you last time. They beat you fucking twice this year.
They beat us once.
And apart from Ray Stone's fucking playing with 2 broken arms in the fucking semi, they would have been in the grand final.
There you go. But who was?
I do think that. I do think that. Yeah, they match up well.
Facts here. They match up.
Yeah, but
well.
even if you beat them, I mean, they can still match up well, and it can be like tighter games than other games.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the point. That's the point I'm saying.
But again, Cleary tackle, terrible tackle, shouldn't have happened. But that's you're talking about the rest of people's lives here. I do think that the Hastings tackle was far worse. Fucking far worse.
Sorry, which one? Which was worse?
The tackle at Hastings broke his ankle in.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like a whole different conversation that we'll have for sure. Yeah.
How much sympathy do you get for fucking breaking your ankle? You certainly don't get a job in the media when you know fuck all. But it really was poor technique. He's got that style about him where he can pick somebody up and drive them back. And that was a fucking horrible execution of it. And we're lucky that nothing terrible happened. The penalty sits with everything else that's been given for similar offences.
I think the penalty is absolutely spot on. They could I've seen people complaining about the length of suspension. I mean, the thing is, it was on a par. It was in a ballpark with the Lawton one and who was the other one that we saw? Naden on Jakey.
Yeah,
they were similar sort of ballpark, but Cleary was coming off. It's his second offence.
That's it.
And so I think that the 5 weeks for the early guilty plea that I believe he took it represents great value for him because he's back for finals.
Yeah,
but it also represents a reasonable punishment because it's more than the ones that we've seen. And so you can I think you can make a really good case for that being whichever side you sit, that's the worst tackle ever. Or I think you can make an argument that that's probably a fair suspension. Which in recent times it's very fucking difficult to get that consensus across the board. True. because you get fucking situations like Maria Hargraves fucking mashing elbows into cunts and getting a fine, and you see Nelson which will in the Nelson game we didn't speak about when he knocks out fucking Wade Egan's teeth with his elbow and gets nothing.
Man, I have fucking been on that tackle so many fucking times as the biggest fake hard cunt shit. Yeah. As in I will lift you up off the ground so you are close to me, and then I will just drop you with the full force of my body back onto the ground.
Yeah, with with a hard part of my body braced against you. Yeah.
It is the fucking it's not going to do ligaments or anything like that, but we've just seen it does fucking jaws and teeth.
Yep.
It breaks bones.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if there's a high tackle, and then the guy has to go for an HIA, but they don't put it on report or do
the day, if the guy's got to go to a fucking dentist or a surgeon to repair his face,
I find it indisputable contact.
That's high contact.
I don't think we're too far away from shit that was a head clash. Doesn't fucking matter. Your technique needs to be such where your head is lower than theirs. So we see guys
head
clash is now illegal.
And that takes back to like the Finucane one, and also there was the one for, with Butcher in the game against Manly
That's
as well,
right,
where
yeah.
he went in. He went in head first, but got knocked out, so it wouldn't have been an infringement because he's the one that got knocked out.
Yeah.
Whereas the Finucane one was, like Nate Miles was classic for it, fucking like leading with his little fucking Dinklage head,
Yeah. Fuck that
trying
shit.
to knock yeah.
But, similar to the Manly game, where once Cleary went off, Penrith were rattled. And they didn't really have a plan B, because I'm sure they've practiced for injury, and I'm sure they've practiced for sin bins and all of this stuff. But it brought home...
It's an unforeseen scenario.
It is,
sure.
but it also brought home just how far above their maturity grade a lot of those kids play. Like, we look at them as just such a well-oiled machine, and they're led around the park so well, and everyone just gets in and does their job, and they all seem to keep their cool. But when you really look at it, there are some fucking young kids where elsewhere in the competition, and there's one with a game comment that we'll get to, elsewhere in the competition, they're getting all sorts of shit excused because, they're really just learning the game. They're just learning the NRL.
Yeah.
These kids at Penrith go in every week and make themselves look like veterans.
Well, I think that a lot of, because of the quality of Penrith's side typically, and what they do and how well they do it, a lot of those young kids, the kinks are ironed out of their game on the fly, and the results keep turning up in the positive for Penrith. So there's no high level of criticism coming their way, because they might make the odd error here and there, but they're also on the end of these fucking amazing backline moves and slick passing and all the rest of it that they do. So they're
exactly.
superstars. So
exactly.
I
tell you, with Cleary being, with Cleary and Luai being out over the next 5 weeks potentially, what a great thing for Redcliffe to get some fucking serious reps. Sullivan.
Yeah.
before he heads up there.
100%.
Yeah.
But the really impressive part of this, and this is where it gets similar to that Manly game, is that second half of football where they knew they were under pressure. They'd done the better part of the first half with a man down, and they knew what they were in for in that 40. To come out and put on a defensive display like that, and to so effectively rattle Parramatta to put them off their game. Parramatta should have put 50 on them in that game. That was their opportunity. Sure. That was their opportunity. That was that fucking sliding doors moment where we have the premiers that no one else has beaten. We've beaten them once this year already, and we've now got an opportunity where they've lost their captain for the game. They've lost their 7. They really should have ramped it up and just run. Like Moses should have been fucking touching everything, playing both sides of the field, counting numbers, and just picking them apart. That's his credentials on. Well, I'll fucking run my team over yours. That's
Parramatta's. He doesn't do that, though.
Exactly.
That's the flaw in his game. It's also the flaw in Gutherson's game. So when you've got 50% of your spine that do not have that ability in a big game, when they've actually got, when especially in the second half, when Penrith showed their championship qualities and stood up and didn't roll over and didn't turn their toes up and stood up and fought, and Parramatta wilted.
So they
were against 12 men.
This is that
they
thing.
really need to have someone like Dylan. Like Dylan Brown really has to be on one to pull those other two out of it.
Yeah, and this is that thing about how well they match up. Well, they matched up, losing 4 points to 6 to a Penrith squad in that second half, a man down.
Yeah, but I mean, also at the same time, they could have had Q in the rack as well. By having a match-winning lead that was never going to be broached.
Yeah, okay.
But it didn't save them from the injuries, though.
But that sort of fucking attitude is a loss in itself.
Yeah, that sort of attitude is fucking Parramatta's DNA right there. Which is why no one respects them.
I can't complain.
Fewer like them.
I can't complain at all about the tackle or the penalty or any of that shit. I probably would have liked them to have snapped into gear quicker. However, again, I can't begrudge them that, because you look at the team and there's, Isaiah Yeo, Fish, Appy, really, who's got that much more experience, across that field? They're all so fucking young. But for them to come together like that as a group in the second half, that's that sort of shit that you can draw on. When you're in a fucking grand final and things are tough and you're all fucking exhausted, but you understand that you've had a second half of football like that together. That's absolutely fucking invaluable. So,
but you do need to get your team psychologist, brain genius, to say to give you that thought, but stop you short of remembering it was against the Eels.
Yeah, true.
Because then you just fucked. Then you're fucked.
It's gonna be like a code word.
The magic. That's like a safe word for the magic, and it just fucking goes away. So,
Rishi, he said, just like that, Cleary chooses to gift the Eels a win. It'll give them hope, but ultimately they will disappoint their fans, not win the premiership. Big brain Cleary out here playing 4D chess. Yes, he is. Glennie, your mate, Sam, he said Cleary should be scrubbed from the game altogether. What a dog! Charge him with attempted murder. He's worse than the Manly 7, Matt Lodge and Dylan Walker combined. What a grub.
The fuck are two of my players in that mix there, bitch?
What say you, Glennie?
Just say that the bugger's been beaten and maybe spend more time fucking complaining about people's fucking microphone positioning and less time fucking trying to analyse rugby league. You clearly got no fucking idea what you're talking about. Fucking imbecile.
Josh said the only thing wrong with Cleary's tackle was that it wasn't on Guppo.
He would have been awarded a medal rather than being sent off.
Cameron, how the fuck do Parramatta look more tired than Penrith? Pretty impressive by the Panthers in the second half. John, said, could have run a train on the Panthers. Instead, we put the cue in the rack at half time. The lack of ruthlessness in this squad is pathetic. Hashtag bin the chin. He's starting to get that one going. Different John said, I'm not a Penrith fan, but after the first half, that team played great footy. Every member played for their club. Good on them. I agree 100%. Chris said they played exceptionally well and full credit should go to them. They won the second half and, to be honest, psychologically holds them in a very good stead. The other teams, more so those in the top 8, will be troubled by that second half performance. They fucking should be. We'll give the last word on that to our mate Chris. He said only Para can win a game and still take an L. Never change, you blue and gold frauds.
Right. The Canberra Raiders 36 defeated the Gold Coast Titans 24 at Hope Solo Coliseum, and the Raiders double to Nick Trotrich, Sebastian Chris also a double. Then we had Timoko, Tapane and Hudson Young also with tries. Fogarty 4 conversions to the Titans 24, going to a double to Jaden Campbell, Brian Kelly and Tanner Boyd with the rest of the tries, and Sexy Toby with 4 conversions.
I feel like this is the best the Titans can muster up these days. Somewhat competitive for parts of a match without ever really having a genuine chance of beating any side that's actually better than, which is most. We're only a season out from them having made the finals, and coming into this season, with Tino and Fafita, with another season, season together under their belts and all the rest of it, and they are a fucking shambles. The Titans, they get, and I've seen some of the comments, and I probably didn't want to buy into them as much as the media has, with guys saying that Fafita should be sent, on his way and pack his bags and fuck off, but to see him deliver so on such a small percentage of his potential, with the money that he's on and the reputation that he brought with him to the Titans, is so fucking disappointing, because he has the ability to actually take that entire club to a different level, and he goes missing for fucking 75 minutes out of every 80. And
I think it's a failure of coaching.
I agree, and that was my next point. Is quite often
even if
coaches,
even if it's not a failure of coaching, at some stage, yes, it is, because fucking do something about it. If it's not your coaching that's doing it, fuck me. Like, if simple fucking armchair pundits like us click on it, the fucking cunt in the box up in the stands should have been on it months before we were.
Because coaching at that level is about a lot more than a fucking game plan and X's and O's and, you know, fucking...
Well, it's getting the unique requirements that allow each player to play at their absolute peak week in, week out.
Man management and getting, you know, getting in their heads and getting the best out of them. That's as much an element of coaching in the NRL as fucking witches' hats and ice baths, you know? Like, it's... geez, they're just disappointing. Not my team, but fucking they're just disappointing. In contrast, I thought Canberra really controlled the match through their class players like Whiten, and the space that those guys enjoyed, I thought was due to their middle forwards, and we spoke about it in the preview ep last week. That I expected the Raiders to get on top of the Titans pack early, and that's exactly what happened. And Tarpanay continues to grow and go from strength to strength for the Raiders. He had spent 10 minutes in the sin bin, but had another good game. And Canberra just slowly going about their business, but they're inch by inch getting back to their best.
Yeah, I think they're like the fact that they conceded 24 points to the Titans is a little bit worrying, and makes it just that good teams are going to be able to prevent them scoring that the 36.
Sure. Sure.
But Hudson Young, I mean, who would have thought? Like when he actually stopped concentrating on fucking ripping people's eyeballs out.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been amazing the last couple of weeks.
Well,
he's a good footballer.
I think the Raiders are firmly in that the best of the bottom 8 bunch. As in, on their day, they might jag or, and like really, let's say that 6th and 7th is debatable, but Canberra on their day could beat 6th or 7th, but yeah, I think they just need a little bit more strike and a little bit more control, and it's always tough when your star half, and we've spoken about styles of halves a lot, but South Sydney are facing that problem this year. When last year they had a half, and their prime half was a controlling half. Reynolds could do what he needed to do to control a game when needed, and then this year you see what they're like when they have a rookie trying to step into that role, and so the dominant half becomes Walker. For as long as Jack Whiten is the dominant half in that team, and you can do some fucking amazing things with the football in hand. Like, was New South Wales best player in Origin 1. Never any doubts about his commitment to the team and his efforts now in defence and the fucking hits he takes and all this stuff. But those little nuanced things, like we were saying, that he's trying to kick 40-20s from 6 metres out every time he gets a ball in his hand. That side of things.
Just don't back him to make the right decision in a big moment in a big game. I don't back him, as you would expect a half to do.
Not even that. It's you don't back him to make the right decision 8 out of 10 times or 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah, fair.
You back him to get in there and try his guts out, which you can work with. But anything else you want to say on that one?
No.
Just the Titans, as bad as much as we have slammed them for the way they're playing, and deservedly so. With Kieran Foran coming next year to put a bit of experience, I mean, the gamble on the youngest spine has failed miserably. Like, obviously, get Foran in there though, and there's reports today that they're looking at getting Sam Verrills in.
Yep.
Because he's he might be looking to play regular first grade when Brandon Smith's coming into the Roosters. And so if they could pull that signing off as well, then I think it changes that side massively. Because you look at like Aaron Clark, I mean, like he seems like he'd probably go okay at lock. So you put some experienced guys like that. I mean, Verrill's not super experienced, but he's certainly experienced in a good system. Put them in, and I think it might change them. It might turn them around like rapidly. like instantaneously.
Yeah.
And just get some of the just get some of the dumb shit out, and perhaps even find a way to utilize David Fafita. Imagine a good hooker actually putting him on a guy that's retreating and tired that he's picked out in the line. Just stuff like that, which they're just not doing at the moment.
Yeah, good call. Yeah.
Socials on that one. I wouldn't imagine neither
Jack.
of the sides have fans.
You said the Titans' defense is worse than my under 5 side, and half the kids have disabilities. Josh, this is what I was referring to before. I hear all the time that Savage is still learning the game from commentators, coaches, media, etc. But surely the game's fundamentals are the same in the reserve grades, like positional play, catching technique, general game awareness, etc. So how many brain snaps can be put down to he's still learning the game? I mean, you hear players make their NRL debut and say the game is the same, just heaps quicker. Curious to know how much grace he should be given being so young. Now, the other thing I will add there, it did come to light later on down in the thread, that he didn't come through as a fullback, he came through and played wing.
Yeah, so he does have, and they're vastly different.
Yeah, they are. They are.
And I think fullback is one of those very specialised positions in the game where if you haven't come up through the lower grades with it, then there's a learning curve. I mean, Ruben Garrick didn't become the best fullback in the game overnight. I mean, it took him like 3-4 weeks to get it down. But and so like Savage, obviously not as talented, but he's young.
Can we do a fucking 21andMe thing on that guy? Because I reckon he is over 33% Neanderthal. Like that fucking brow on him and that fucking thing. Like that guy is like just constantly stopping himself from like eating raw meat and living in a cave.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're gonna level that accusation at anyone, I mean, Nathan Cleary's got a hell of a fucking angle on his fucking dome.
Well, yeah, that's all fucking HGH. This shit's hereditary. This is millennia of fucking Ugmo.
Ladies, hit us back. The ladies love rubes. They love it. And I mean, are you just saying that it's like some sort of base instinct that they want to get knocked on their head with a fucking club and dragged into a cave?
Oh, Jesus.
Something. Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't say Dylan Walker.
Yeah, he'd knock him on the head and take him back in the cave and feed him Nutella and pepperoni pizza.
Do you remember when you were coming up, and if you ever you went from like your school sport into zones and districts, all of a sudden the shit that worked at your school stopped working like 2 or 3 levels up. I think that's the biggest challenge for a lot of these kids when they come through. That for their entire footy career, they've been such a step above everyone they've played against, either in athletic ability or how they see the game or the skills that they have or what they've trained for as well.
Yeah, getting off topic, partially. I think that distills the exact problem with the New Zealand Warriors.
What's that?
What you just said then. The shit that works in New Zealand schools against New Zealand Rugby League junior systems versus with the cream of the crop, but going through union.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd agree with that.
New Zealand's a reserve grade country. That's what I'm trying to
say. Yes, Nathan. Love it. Fuck the Kiwis.
They come into first grade in Australia and get to taste pavlova where it was invented.
So is that what they did? Like when Jacinda got voted in, they presented her with the Jersey Flag Cup. Fucking hell. And so I think that's where Savage is at the moment because he's obviously athletically gifted, and I think also when coming up through the grades that if you fuck up, the stakes are a lot less.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's not just he's not learning first grade; he's actually learning to become a fullback.
Yeah, that's it.
Which is a more difficult challenge.
Spot on. Richard said, "Big Tino does not deserve to play in a side that is so amazingly mediocre. Every week I tune in to watch the Titans, wondering if this is going to be the week they finally live up to their potential. Supporting this mob must be utterly soul-destroying. Indeed. There you go.
Yeah, but who cares anyway? Like, I mean, yeah, if you support them, you made your bed too, right?
Yeah, that is true.
I'm a big fan of personal responsibility and accountability for the choices you make in your life. I mean, Glennie's missus was smart enough to jump off almost as soon as she jumped on that team, and I bet she's reaping the benefits now. No allegiance, free to laugh at Glennie every weekend.
Is she really though? She's still stuck with me.
That choice. Oh, yeah. Not all choices are created equal. Just the one to jump off the Titans when they signed Greg Bird. That was a good choice.
Yeah.
The Sharkies 21 defeated the Rabbitohs 20 at Reclaim Australia Stadium. The Sharks 21 came through tries to Connor Tracy, the Mutt, and Andrew Fafita. Nico Hines 3 conversions, a penalty goal, and the crucial field goal after an absolute fucking misathon. And the Rabbitohs 20 tries to Latrell, Alex Johnson, and Tavita Totola. Latrell 3 conversions and a penalty goal, and a couple of misses at field goal, and 2-point miss too.
Tight contests between two pretty evenly matched sides, I thought. In the end, it came down to the cool head under pressure of Nico Hines, as opposed to the not so cool head and clean striking of field goal attempts from Latrell.
Yeah, I think it came down to the cool head of Nico Hines after the poor kicking of multiple chances of Latrell Mitchell and the hot head of fucking Tom Burgess.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
giving him
my
the
next
set
point.
like 20 minutes
aided
out.
and abetted by Tom Burgess, who murdered the Mutt.
I'm not sure that Latrell's temper had anything to do with him missing the fucking field goals. Like, that's not lack of a cool head. But
No. I think Hines took another step as far as his development into one of the real stars of the competition. Overall, not just the field goal, I thought he had a great game. Just on the Sharks, they might not win the comp this year. I still think they're a peg away from obviously Penrith and probably the Storm when the Storm are at their best. But what they're building right now speaks to prolonged success over many seasons. Just the way that they play and the way that team is structured, and there's no, I know Hines is on reasonable coin, but there's no one on absolutely outrageous money, and Fafita's taken up a bit of a chunk, I think, but he's probably going to fade out over the next season or so, and you've got to give at this very early stage of his tenure there at Cronulla, the way that he's pulled that team together, Fitzgibbon deserves a lot of credit, and the way that they play and the camaraderie, but just the way that the side itself and the individual pieces in that team. I don't know, Fitzgibbon can't be given credit for all of that because some of those guys have been there for multiple seasons, but I just
still
feel
the way that he's managed to get use out of Matt Moyle and what he's done with Nico and the signing of Nico. I mean, that obviously would have been on his say so.
Yeah, but you look at how far they've come this year and the type of team that they are right now. With another off season and more reps and all the rest of it, and whatever additional pieces they might add, they're a force to be reckoned with for the next several seasons at least, I believe.
Yeah. Or they're just another Parramatta that are striving for fucking relevancy. So
it's just inflammatory.
That's I was a little bit underwhelmed with this game, and it was a tight contest, but I think it was tight because both teams were just off a tiny little bit. Souths were really sloppy, just in their execution, and especially in their options within the 20. As in, every time they had the ball in an attacking position, there's no thought of building pressure. There's no build-up to unleashing that lethal left side. It was a really scattered performance, I think, from them. And the Sharks, well, they were fucking humbled the week prior, so they obviously spent the rest of the week sitting around contemplating if they'd be better off taking toaster baths or not. But I think as well, they fell into that trap of getting into it with Souths instead of just remaining on their level and playing their game plan. I think if they'd have tried to play a really up-tempo style of game, they would have had Souths and put a massive fucking score on them. Because you could see as this game went on, you know, to the point we made last week, the Sharks are, as a whole unit, while they've got some massively, extremely fit players, as a whole unit, they're a level below Penrith in the fitness stakes. They had Souths. And I think if they'd have just kept going at them and going at them and going at them, they could have really opened that game up in the last 20 minutes. But that's where experience comes for someone like Hines, where, you know, instead of just being in the moment, stuck in the contest, to just remove yourself from that and play your own game. Again, Walker, just
Underwhelming.
Oh my god, and just so fucking naturally gifted in how he can move and how he can accelerate and just, you know, have the fucking defend potential. It's just everything that we saw a couple of years ago. You know, they got him an Origin jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether, you know, what do you think that was? Was that Wayne Bennett? Was it just a purple patch? What's your take?
It's a combination of things. I think Bennett was a factor because he clearly wasn't that player before Bennett, and clearly now that Bennett's gone, he's not. I think Reynolds is a factor.
Combination with Reynolds, obviously, yeah.
Is a big factor. And I think the increased level of expectation from the club, I just don't think he's a Batman. I think he's a Robin.
But also the thing is, he's a hothead as well, and sometimes he can sort of, you know, like John McEnroe, he can channel that and take his game to another level.
Yep.
But there's times when he will just fucking implode too if someone is getting under his skin.
Yeah.
And I mean, you see at the end of this game, I mean, he was just fucking filthy.
Yeah.
When who was it? When tried to shake his hand after the game, and he's just fucking like pushed him away. And like, I'm all for players not smiling, you know, and being happy after a loss, but you know,
shake hands.
Be pissed off and shake hands.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like there's the two things they're not opposite sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can be respectful to the opposition and then
be filthy that you lost. Yeah.
Be filthy that you lost afterwards. Yeah.
That's my take. I think it's a combination of Bennett, Reynolds, and the fact that, you know, as you know, to your point before about being the dominant half, he's got a rookie in there, and the expectation of, you know, spoken or unspoken, the expectation is there that he's a senior guy, as a representative level player, that he was going to take all that, you know, that additional responsibility and make it all work. But I don't think he's that guy.
Nice. Anything else you want to add on that?
Yeah, here's some socials.
Joe said every club's game plan against South moving forward surely has to be go at Walker. Bloke has a mental fortitude of a boomer about pride jerseys. Thomas, he said, it'll be easy to blame Burgess, but he wouldn't have had time to do it if Mitchell had just kicked one.
Fair.
Michael.
That's true.
Said, good to see Latrell and Cody take control of this game in extra time. Yes, there you go. And no Shark had anything decent to say, so fuck them.
Right, so the West Tigers 32 absolutely fucking smashed the Broncos 18 at Suncorp. The Tigers tries to Brent Naden, Adam Dewey, Jockey Madden, Star-Lord Tyre, and Zane Musgrove. Dewey, 5 conversions and a penalty goal, defeating the Broncos 18 tries to Tessie New, Ezra Mam and Jordan Ricky, 2 conversions to Reynolds and 1 to Tony Staggs. Clenny, the floor is yours. Whilst I'm disappointed you didn't come down for the game,
look,
the floor still is yours.
It was an eventful day, Saturday, but no, I didn't get down for the game, unfortunately. But I thought I actually enjoyed the game. I enjoyed how the Tigers played. I think the Broncos lacked composure and really struggled to get the errors out of their game. try as they might, which is a worrying sign, for a side that's got aspirations of the top four. For the Tigers' perspective, they took plenty of their opportunities. They kept coming at the Broncos, and for a side that, as this game was being played, was running fucking last on the ladder, and at various stages of this season looked every bit a wooden spoon team. They fucking stuck it to the Broncos and stuck to their game plan, and I think this is another step towards the door for Luke Brooks. Jock Madden, I thought he had a great game and complemented Dewey nicely. Dano at the back, again, much as he was last week against the Cowboys, he was, in and around the ruck and trying to find opportunities and trying to assert his influence on the result, which is great. And again, for him, another step in the right direction for his confidence and what he can bring to the team. So I was pretty impressed for the second week in a row as to how the Tigers played and how they executed the game plan. And I think it further probably accentuates your point, Nate, about the Sheensy and Benji influence. I think there's definitely something to that, because they definitely look like they've turned a corner over the last couple of weeks. In particular, you hear Noddy and Tamau saying that it's been coming for a month, these performances, and I probably, you look at, they played Penrith and Para, but these last 2 weeks have definitely been different. So, happy with the win. A few Broncos fans were a bit chirpy during the week. Haven't heard from them since Saturday night, so speaks volumes about Broncos fans.
The Broncos got some fucking dubious decisions as well through the game, just in those 50-50s.
Yeah.
And they still couldn't take advantage of it. The only other thing I'd add is that Tuolangi looked like he was back to his best as well, and it's probably
he
had
had
a
some
lot
great touches.
Yeah, and it probably by and large was because Jock Madden put him through decent lines, and decent passes, which a week ago Luke Brooks wasn't doing.
Yeah.
I mean, and look, I'm just having these visions of him on the left and fucking Olaquadu on the right.
Yeah.
Next year, they're like twin fucking wrecking balls. It'd be fucking great. And the other thing is, the thing that impressed me about the Tigers, other than just the fact that they won pretty well, was that the Broncos did sort of get back, and they got back to sort of like a try difference or whatever, and that was the time there where with the momentum and everything, where you're like, okay, here we fucking go.
Yep.
But the Tigers, abetted by the Broncos' poor ball control and stuff like that, but the Tigers actually stood up at that moment and then pulled away and then turned it into a really good fucking win.
Yeah. 100%.
And that scrum play at the end for Dewey to score was like just fucking diabolical from the Broncos.
Oh,
like,
woeful.
What the fuck?
Woeful.
Yeah. Yep. Look, the Broncos can work on defence. They've had some amazing defensive performances this year, and I think that was the difference. They let the Tigers in the game, and again, it goes to the actual fucking difficulty of the game, where a team that's vying for the top four can have an off night, and the Spooners can get up there and in their face, and if they're good enough and have gotten rid of the biggest fucking Achilles heels that any club's had to carry in the last little while. Can I just remind everybody that Ivan Cleary turned Luke Brooks into a Dally M halfback of the year? Like, I think this performance...
So you're saying that if he wasn't injured, that the Panthers should have got a loan arrangement and got Brooksy in there into the 7 to finish out, to close out the season?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
Sounded like what you were saying. I agree with you, Nathan.
I mean, you're lucky that he's injured, because, I mean, otherwise, from what you're saying, he sounds like a fucking slam dunk.
No, what I'm saying is that Ivan is such a fucking master coach that he somehow polished a turd to the levels that the world has never seen and will never see again. I do not want the said turd sitting on my mantelpiece.
Oh, are you saying that you don't think that Adam O'Brien can do the same thing with Brooksy that Cleary did? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Do you know, I heard
Can be
one
what
of
I'm
the
insinuating.
one of the best pieces of justification for Luke Brooks going to the Knights. I think it might have been a Fox Sports article, which I feel dirty that I actually read, but it said that Luke Brooks is, he's this move to the Knights that has been touted on and off over the last season, also could potentially be back on, and the fact that Andrew Johns is advocating for Brooksy to come to Newcastle, and Brooksy in his debut game and in his lead up to his debut was called the next Andrew Johns. That's the dots they've joined. He was once called the next Andrew Johns, and Andrew Johns has said that Luke Brooks should come to Newcastle. Andrew Johns is the best Newcastle player that there has ever been. Therefore, that's why that should happen.
Yeah, I mean, look, that is by and large comical. However, if Andrew Johns says publicly that Luke Brooks should go to the Knights,
Yeah.
then privately he said to the Knights, "You should fucking get Luke Brooks. He's on the outer." Blah blah blah.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, and look, I think Brooks is not. He's definitely not the worst player. I think he's in a bad situation, like just a stale situation there at the Tigers.
Yeah.
And I for one would be keen to see what he could do
Here's
at
the
another
thing,
club.
though.
It's a shame that the Knights don't really have anything around him to necessarily support him going to another level.
But it's exactly like I said about the Titans. At some stage, yeah, sure, it might not be coach's fault right away that a player's not in there and getting involved and doing what they should be doing. But eventually it is the coach's fault.
Are you talking from the Knights' perspective or the Tigers?
Well, no.
Because he's been through six coaches at the Tigers.
But
So
what
which
I'm
one's
saying
fault
is-
is it?
Yeah, but with Brooks, no, the club. So regardless of how many coaches they have, there's been no continuity for him to have any sort of education on his game or to build his game. You talk about the fact how many clubs have one of the Johns brothers as a coaching consultant. You've got Stacey Jones down there at the Warriors doing that stuff. Penrith have their halfback academy where the great halves that have played for Penrith and other clubs get in and just teach them about, well, hang on. So, yeah, do you know how you make the right decision 8 out of 10 times? By fucking knowing what all the decisions are. By having the best repertoire. So, yeah, I think Brooksy just needs some more skills. You need someone else to teach him. Or someone to teach him at all.
It's amazing to say that about a guy, and not, I'm not saying you're wrong. I agree with you, but a guy that has played this long in first grade and has been paid as much as he has over the course of his career, which isn't his fault, that we're saying he still needs to be taught. And not saying he should ever stop learning, but to the point where it's had a detrimental impact on his game at this stage of his career.
100%.
It's amazing. And
yeah, 100%.
It's a very tigerish fucking thing, but anyway.
I just love to see him with a season where he's, and like you can't guarantee it's at Newcastle. You can't guarantee that Callum Pong is going to play every game without getting like HIAs and shit keeping him out from week in and week out.
Yeah.
You can't say that. You can't really count on Brayley being uninjured for an entire season either.
Nope.
But if they were, I'd love to see him, because this is the thing. The Tigers have never given him a stable, like they've been fucking musical chairs with hookers for the entire time, pretty much.
Yep.
He hasn't had after Moses left, he hasn't had a halves partner like a standard. I mean, they've tried a number of things. And, fullback, I mean, fuck, don't get me started. I mean, so put him in a stable spine and maybe he'll stop playing like a fucking cripple. That's the science. Have you finished the socials on that one?
I don't know. Were there socials? I don't fucking know.
I don't know. We can just,
yeah,
there'd have to be socials. You got to bathe in the fucking glow of.
He said, "Imagine losing to a team as shit as the Tigers. Fuck, I've missed the 2019 Broncos. Michael. Fuck, we got a lot of Michaels. Brooks shows his game-changing qualities in this match. Cruzy. He said, we didn't deserve to win that game. Stank like the people sitting in front of us who don't shower or own deodorant. And at that point, I knew the Bronx would struggle. Fucking smelly cunts. Yeah, okay. Winston. He said, Glenn gets to be the sole winner on the podcast. Is this the first time?
I don't think so. I feel like it happened last year. It happened last year miraculously sometime. It was a surprise.
Did you lose? No, did you lose during Illegitimate Joy?
No, I don't think we did.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't remember.
Anyway.
We may have.
Danny. He said, no Luke Brooks to get in the way and fuck things up. We score points and win. Coincidence? I think not. Biggest. He said, a renaissance is upon us. A retigance, if you will. That was fucking shit. You should be fucking ashamed of yourself because that depressed me. I need someone for a fucking offload.
Way to jam a fucking bunch of words together in a way that makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. How you feeling today? I'm eggs, tiger, sight-tastic. Even those who had no voice before can now speak. Martialism is the new Hicken. What's Hicken?
Spell it.
Hikan. Hican?
I don't know, man.
Okay. Glennie, is this some fucking Tigers thing?
No, man. I got no idea.
There we go. I'd ask you to fucking explain yourself, but, you know, it'd be a sentence without spaces. I would like to give a shout out to a very good friend of ours, Mr. Wars, who has graced this country with his presence for the first time since that man fucked that pangolin, and has been like literally stopped from getting in due to COVID. Kept his Broncos seats all that time, like paid for his fucking ticketed membership, and couldn't even get the fucking lanyards posted to him. Because, you know, his dad can't read the numbers on the post boxes. But came back for the greatest season that the Broncos have had.
To watch them lose to the West Tigers.
If you fucking, you know, everyone comparing it to fucking 2006, to sit in that seat in that stadium for the first time and watch the West Tigers anal your team. You got the full Broncos experience,
which also happened in 2006. I might add.
You got hashtag fuck the Broncos. You got the Broncos playing like absolute shit. You got the fact that referees no longer love them, and you got a glimpse into your future with Adam Reynolds having injury scares every 10 minutes. So
it's enough to send you back to fucking snuggle up with a pangolin and wait for the sweet release of fucking COVID death.
So yes, welcome back, my friend. How I've missed you.
Nice. How long's he over here for?
Fuck that guy.
A couple of weeks.
Right. The Doggies 24 defeated the Knights 10 in Newcastle. The Doggies 24, their tries came through a hat-trick to Jacob Carraz. Shoop with the other try. Birdo 3 conversions and a penalty goal, defeating the Knights 10. Tries to TWiL and Young, with Clifford 1 conversion.
It's all getting a bit embarrassing for the Knights. The crowds are still coming, and, you know, as a town, and a one-team town, they've come to expect effort from their team. And it's just not quite like it used to be. Even during the Spoon years, they could show up and expect the Knights to have a dig, but to be outplayed to the level that they were by the Bulldogs is fucking embarrassing. In contrast to the Knights, so the Bulldogs, to me, are playing with a high level of enthusiasm and look like they're enjoying their footy. And, you know, I know that they're, you know, every named coach has been associated with, you know, or linked with the Dogs in the media since Trent has been moved on, but they could do a lot worse than Potter as a long-term coach.
Especially when they get a couple more pieces next year.
Yeah, that's it.
But this one, I mean, they definitely fell off in the second half, and it became a game where the Knights had so much field position and dominance and zero ability to just fucking get the ball over the line. And they could. They had enough ball to win this game in the second half. But man, they are fucking hopeless right now on both sides of the ball. This was actually a defensive effort that was a decent one. I mean, it's almost like a moral victory for them because they didn't concede 40 like they usually have been lately. And but yeah, look, I mean, both of those sides are down where they are. The doggies are clearly improving, but
you transpose this game to a third of the way through the season.
Yep.
Right? And if you're a Dogs fan, your mood changes dramatically. Like, you're obviously happy with this win. It was a good performance, and the boys are getting more and more in sync. But you transpose this game back, and the Dogs are, yep, fuck yeah, we're building, we've got the pieces, da-da-da-da-da-da. Knights fans, they went through it. They had their fucking dive, and they just haven't come back out of it.
Yep.
You know, so, in saying that, the Dogs have for the last couple of years, albeit later in the season, started to go on these tears when shit doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, and played a bit of a spoiler sort of a role.
That's it. And there's been a couple of years where I was like, oh, no shit, no, finally they're coming together, and this is what they've been working all season on, and things are finally starting to click, and then all of a sudden by round one the following year, oh, no, they're shit again.
Yeah.
So, they're doing it early, so if they do it for longer, I think there'll be more of a chance that they can carry over. But that's crunch time for the Dogs. Finish this season strongly, but carry it over into next year. Fuck me, Newcastle, blow it up.
Yep.
Everyone's off
safe from the spoon, essentially. But you know, that
doesn't mean they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
And like injuries have been cruel. But where's that side that for the first half dozen rounds was in there as a like what one of the most team-based performances that I saw out of any team in the first 6 rounds was Newcastle. So who'd be a fucking coach, eh? Who would be a fucking coach?
Oh, AOB, fucking so shit like when questioned about the defensive ability of the side, he started talking about how the fact that he'd been involved with 4 grand finals. Yeah, okay, mate.
Yeah.
What have you done lately?
Fucking hell. Oh my God. Joshua, he said the Knights may blow ass, but the mighty doggies have something going on. Top 8 next year. Book it in, fellas. Oh, there we go. Danny, he said, I'm no doggy supporter, but a winger crossfield kick to winger to score. I don't think I could get this erect. Like, again, there's something to be said, and it's not going to work against every team or whatever, but the more you have in your repertoire, the rugby league's a simple game. You need to put the defence in as many minds as possible, and if all of a sudden you've got these fucking crossfield kicks that you can put on a dime and wingers that can run like anything, that starts to put defences in 2 minds. Shit, do we have to drop back early? Do we have to do this? Do we have to do that? Well, fuck, now we can't compress. Well, fuck, now there's more room in the middle. It's not the worst fucking game plan. Jason, Bulldogs have gone back-to-back for the second time this year. This season is finishing a hell of a lot better than how it started. This week was similar to last week. We got out to an early lead. Winger scores a hat-trick of tries. We have a 20-minute window where we forget how to score and give the opposition the opportunity to get back in the game. Thankfully, it was only Newcastle. We won't be so lucky against better opposition, who next week happens to be the Cowboys. # credit denied. No, hang on. That's the Dragons game. There we are.
Let's move on to that one then with the North Queensland Cowboys 34 defeating the Dragons 8 down at Jubilee Kogarah. The Cowboys a double to Scott Drinkwater, a double to Jeremiah Nanai, Griffin Neem and Kyle Felt with tries, Holmes 5 conversions, defeating the Dragons who had a solitary try in Women in League round to Jack the Bellin. Fucking disgraceful. Zach Lomax with a conversion and a penalty goal.
Cowboys, this was a bit of a fucking solid training run, I think, to sharpen up their attack, which probably did them well after a poor performance last week by the standards they've set this year. I thought they were really good, the Cowboys. Played some really, really nice direct attack, and Nanai took another step for mine is his footwork at the line. He scored, scored a try and also set up one for Drinkwater with fucking beautiful right foot step for a big guy, and then showed explosive pace to get past his man and put Drinkwater away. And Drinkwater himself obviously growing in confidence and skill as a fullback, and he's got this knack of following, and I don't know if it's always been in his game or he's just realised and capitalising on significant opportunity given the multitude of mobile forwards in that Cowboys pack with an offload in them. But he is just sniffing around constantly, and he's always there through the middle. We saw it, as I said, with the Nanai break, but it's an innate, a really handy skill, and an important one for a fullback, and he's doing it as well as any fullback in the competition at the moment, and it shows in the results for the Cowboys. He had a great game.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head there, Glennie, when you said the multitude of Cowboys forwards that have these skills. Like Tamalolo's been. Did he end up getting charged? I hope not. But they looked like he was a bit of trouble for a shoulder charge there.
Yeah, it was reported. I haven't heard if he's been charged yet.
Yeah, I didn't notice anything on the list about him getting charged.
But it was, you remember back to the days where it was like, okay, well, Tamalolo's been put on report. Holy shit, that's the next 3 weeks.
Yeah,
they're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like now, he's such a fucking asset to that club now. More so that he has more support.
Early plea, $3,000 fine.
There you go.
Okay.
Fucking
so yeah,
beautiful. The system works.
Yep.
But they've done really well in building a complementary forward pack.
Yeah, he is still an outlier given his
100%.
extreme level of size and skill and ability.
Yeah.
But when you put Cotter and Nanai and obviously Lukey's out hurt, but he's another one. Fucking Hess and the other big fella who scored under the sticks. I can't remember his name. Neem. Yeah. They've all got a bit of footwork. They've all got great size. They all play big minutes. They're mobile and just have that ability to get their hands free. And Drinkwater, not only is he quick, but he's a smart footballer and puts himself, but also support players that are also pushing up through the middle, because that's, you've got guys like Holmes and those guys in the side as well, also pushing up. I think it probably just comes down, they're just fucking well coached.
Yeah, and there's been those growing pains.
To their strengths, so.
We had those growing pains with Tamalolo looking like he was out of favour or whatever was going on, but the evolution of his game from being a battering ram for 250 metres a game to the kind of ball playing that he's introduced, like that try to Neem that you mentioned.
Yeah.
That was off a beautiful ball, Tamalolo, where people are expecting him to go the battering ram and just soft hands and a good line from Neem and he's in under the sticks. So and that makes him far more dangerous because then he becomes a threat,
because he can still run for 200 a game.
He could rumble over you, but if you're fucking ready, if you're planted ready to try and stop him rumbling over you, and then he can pop a nice ball out to the next guy down the line. I mean, it's fucking dangerous.
Yeah, and I think it's not only is it obviously an evolution of the Cowboys, but it's and you see some of it with the way, and Penrith probably set the standard for it, but you'd say in their side, Fish is probably a bit of somewhat of a throwback, but he's still capable of playing big minutes and is extremely athletic. So, but just those guys, it's not quite the massive humans like a Nelson type mold. They're just a lot more compact and mobile, and it's fucking effective for the Cowboys when they get it right.
Yeah, spot on.
Yep. And the one thing I would say is, I'd hate to give any comfort to a Dragons fan,
because fuck them.
That game was 10-8, and they were balls deep in that game for probably 65 minutes.
Yeah.
Like a long fucking time. I mean, the second half was an arm wrestle for quite some time.
Not the first time we've said that about the Dragons this season though, where they've just completely collapsed in the last 15 to 20 minutes of a game, and the score's blown out.
Yeah, that's it.
Which is no more than their cunt fan base deserves.
What do you, where do you see the Dragons next year? Like, is Benny Hunt's still dropping hints that the reunion with Wayne up at Redcliffe's can
I tell you, I would fucking love to see it. I really would. Whether it happens though,
No sarcasm.
No sarcasm at all. No,
Yeah.
no, I'd fucking love it. I think that's like the next level in the next step in his redemption.
Yeah.
Back with Wayne and presumably partnering, Milford in the halves.
Yeah.
And maybe they can try and get some back on what they lost.
Yep.
Yeah, I honestly, whatever Ben Hunt does next, I'll back it. He's proven himself with this Dragon side, and we've said it time and time again this year. The times where he's legitimately played a fucking lone hand and kept them in games and won them games.
Yeah.
So
it is sad. It's sad that there's not a club who's a halfback. Oh, maybe Canberra.
Yeah, Canberra would be ideal because that's the one thing they need.
And he gets him over. Yeah, he gets him over the hump.
Yeah.
Or fucking hell, South Sydney.
Yeah.
There's say there's not any, and there's two prime fucking candidates.
When there was talk about how overvalued his contract was in his early time at the Dragons, now he could walk into those two clubs you mentioned and be worth every fucking cent and more.
Yeah, that's it. And fucking good on him for wanting to go and help build a foundation club.
Yeah.
But yeah, fuck, if he was a ring chaser,
yeah,
I would be on the phone to South Sydney saying fucking back end me as much as you want, do anything you want.
Yep.
Let's get a fucking ring together.
A spine of Mitchell, Walker, Hunt, and Cook.
Yeah.
Please.
Fucking hell.
Please.
Yep. Yeah. And it's not like Souths have got, Mitchell would be on big money, but surely they'd have something to spend after letting Reynolds go.
Yeah. I mean, they have to upgrade some boys, but I mean, surely nothing to that kind of level.
Nah, fuck, that'd be a fucking scary proposition. Jesus fucking... Yeah, edit that bit out. Don't give those dumb fucks any idea because they won't think of it themselves. Jordan.
All right, socials.
Says Dragons let Robson go and ended up with McCulloch. Think the Cows won that battle. Yeah, you reckon? Fucking hell. Ross. Looks like Jack Bird has kept his Broncos free McDonald's card. Yes, he has. Jordan. Happy to provide Mars bars if you need them, Dragons fans. Philip said, I've carved the likeness of Anthony Griffin into my frozen Mars bar. I'll be leaving it in my ass to melt. There we go.
So that's it, fellas. That was round 20. And we'll be back on Wednesday night to run through round 21. Very interesting. The landscape has changed a little bit over just due to the fact that, like Panthers lost both their halves. So what's going to happen in the games leading up to the finals for them?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Moses is injured for a couple of weeks at least, they say. I mean, is that enough to tip Parramatta like they could literally go out of the 8? Yeah.
Hang on. Have we got time for a quick ladder predictor?
Yeah, you can do it. I did one today, and Parramatta can go as low as 10th.
Serious? Like, were you being like fuck para or?
No, I was not being fuck para. I was being pro Manly, but then I went once they were secured in the 8. Then I went back and but then I went back and gave them some losses as well, just to see how many losses they could sustain out of the next 5 games, and they don't have to win all of them.
Rightio. So this week, Roosters Broncos.
I'm going to say Broncos.
So am I. Storm Titans.
Obviously Storm.
This is a big one. Manly Parramatta.
Yeah, I think Manly are specials.
Glenn? Manly Parramatta.
Fucking specials.
Yeah, I'll say Manly.
No Moses, and then they're going to fucking rattle Gutho.
Souths Warriors.
Souths
easily.
Panthers Raiders.
Panthers.
Let's go to NRL Chaos and give it to the Raiders.
Yeah.
Right?
All right.
Like it's not a country game where we.
This mean
celebrate.
we don't.
I still think it's a
record
game.
on Wednesday night now. Or?
yeah. I mean, spoilers.
This minute in league is back.
Exactly. 2020 cricket. Sharks, Dragons.
Sharks.
Yeah,
Dogs,
Sharks,
Cows.
Cows.
Cows,
Tigers, Knights.
Tigs.
Tigers by the heaps.
Righto. Panthers, Storm.
Storm.
It doesn't matter, honestly. It's one of those inconsequential games for the 8 composition.
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
There. Warriors, Dogs.
Dogs.
Eels, Rabbits.
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 Roosters, Cows.
Cows.
Tigers, Sharks.
Tigers.
Sharks.
Fuck off, Glenn. Knights, Broncos. Sorry, Broncos, Knights.
Broncos.
Raiders, Dragons.
Raiders.
Titans, Manly.
Manly.
Righto.
A for and against fucking surplus game too.
Yeah. Souths, Penrith.
Penrith.
Cowboys, Warriors.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
Broncos, Storm.
Storm.
Yeah, Storm.
At Suncorp.
Storm.
Okay. Parramatta, Bulldogs.
See, this is where it
That's
gets
a tough
yeah.
one. Para,
like the Bulldogs fucking slaughtered them last time, and they may not have Mitch Moses this time.
Yeah.
So this is one where this is one that I probably for chaos gave it to the Doggies
Yep.
because they beat them by fucking 40 last time.
Okay. Manly, Sharks.
Yeah, Manly.
Sharks.
Sharks.
Manly can lose one though, and I did give them this one as a loss.
Roosters, Tigers.
Tigers.
Fuck off.
Jesus, Glenn.
Come on, we're being serious now, man. Jesus Christ.
You like that kid playing fucking backyard cricket? I can't get out first ball.
Fuck off, gun. You asked me a question, I gave you an answer. Let's move on.
Oh, one hand, one bounce.
Stop,
West-
bludgeoning that fucking big mouth cunt with a cricket bat.
Tigers.
The one hand, one bounce in rugby league.
Tigers dubs are the one hand, one bounce of the NRL.
The West Tigers are the bell in the ball of rugby league.
There you go. Jot that one down. One hand, one bounce. Dragons, Titans.
Dragons.
Knights, Raiders.
Raiders.
Broncos, Para. At Suncorp.
Broncos.
Penrith, Warriors.
Panthers easy.
Storm, Roosters.
Storm.
Raiders, Manly.
Raiders.
Manly.
I got Raiders on that one.
Yeah, I got Raiders.
Fuck out of here, idiots. We'll destroy
Sharks,
'em.
Bulldogs.
Mate, we're trying to be fucking serious here, mate.
Sharks.
Sharks.
Yeah, this isn't a fucking make-a-wish thing.
I see Manly losing again this regular season, to be honest.
Rabbits, Cowboys.
Rabbits at home.
Where?
At
Rabbits.
McCall.
They've won most of their games away, though, too.
Yeah. Now,
Cowboys.
at this stage, Souths are playing for a top 4.
Yeah, I reckon Cowboys still.
Okay. What do you reckon, Glenn?
South.
Okay. Tigers, Dragons.
Tigers.
Nate?
Doesn't matter, but
That
Dragons.
Fucking, You fucking piece of shit.
You know, we're hypothesizing here. It's not like we're the gods creating the fucking world.
Why are you getting emotional about science, Glenny? Jesus fucking Christ!
You just did exactly the same thing
Okay,
a round before.
Last round. Now, here's the thing. At this stage, Parramatta are sitting 9th.
Yeah, see, and
So
it doesn't take a lot of gymnastics to make them out of the 8. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
And then we haven't gone into round 25 yet because they got the Storm.
yeah,
Exactly.
This is round 25 and they get Melbourne. Now, they are at home. So this is their, big game. If they win
First game
that
away from Amy Park for the Storm, so how they'll adapt to that. I'm
If
not
they
sure.
win, do they have to win that to finish 8th then?
They may not. I don't think they get back in even if they win it.
No, if they win, they're 8. And even if Manly beat the Bulldogs, Parramatta stay in the 8.
Yeah, but that's because you haven't got Manly smashing the fucking Raiders in there, like what's actually going to happen in real life.
Well, okay, then we'll put in that fucking the Bulldogs smash you.
If we smash
They
the Raiders, we
fucking
smash the Bulldogs. We're actually going to end the fucking Mick Potter coaching. We're going to coach kill Mick Potter.
So,
Coach
Sea Eagles,
killers, fucking killing the cunts.
Roosters,
This is
Rabbits.
deep pool. Rabbits.
Warriors Titans in New Zealand.
Warriors.
Titan Spoon locked in.
Dragons Broncos. No. That's a night spoon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well deserved.
So Dragons Broncos.
Broncos.
Yeah, Broncos.
Cowboys Panthers.
Cowboys.
Probably Cowboys given the,
Knights Sharks.
Sharks.
Yeah, Sharks.
That's the issue. So if the Knights win that, Titan spoon. Tigers,
is that just for and against, or is that actually points on the ladder for those two?
No, we haven't taken for and against into this. Is just straight. It just puts 12 points on the winner. That's it.
No, but that's what I mean, though. Do they have the same amount of points on the ladder?
Yes, they do. Yeah, they do.
Okay. All
But
right, cool.
the Knights for and against is negative 358.
Oof.
So
What's the Titans for negative for and against?
negative 270.
Oh, so Manly put 50 on them, and they're a good chance of the spoon.
So
Nice.
so the Tigers are a
happening.
game. They're a game clear of the spoon.
Oh, and also the Tigers, don't forget, the Tigers will get those 2 points back too. When fucking Pascoe goes to fucking town, gets his briefcase, and then takes it up to the office of Mr. Volandis, and throws a fucking, throws a lawsuit on him. Says, "You've been served, Pete. Here's a show bag." Here's a show bag. Spoiler, it's full of legal documents.
And a birdie beetle.
and a signed Benji and Sheena's jersey.
Hang on, you didn't get to the last game of the last round.
What was that?
Tigers Raiders.
Yeah, I did. I said Tigers Raiders. We said
Tigers.
Raiders.
Yeah, obviously Raiders, right?
Fuck,
Yeah.
we did.
I mean, the last round of the season, of course, the Raiders are going to win by fucking 60. That's the way it always happens.
So that makes you top four. Now, again, remember, we've given Parramatta this one, so they're in the 8. If they win the last round, they're in the 8. If they don't, then Manly are in the 8.
And it's actually like a tough ask for them too.
Well, yeah, it's Melbourne.
Yeah.
You know, not at Amy Park, but
They have a tough run home without their halfback for a number of those games.
which and this is closer than I fucking thought it'd be. Penrith get the minor premiership on for and against.
They would have to, we'd have to lose every fucking game then with Cleary out to get that bad.
Oh well, we've had them lost 3 or 4.
Yeah, we took a few off them.
Yeah.
They'll probably win them
right.
all. Fuck.
Yeah, I thought I picked them every time. I think I picked against them once. I think it was the Cowboys at the end.
No, so the Cowboys we've got beating them. Souths we've got beating them.
Yeah, see, I don't think South's beating them.
Oh,
That's Glennie on some bullshit.
yeah, but that time of year, you know, Souths got beaten in the grand final last year. We had Melbourne beating them.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not fucking locked in. But
Well, this is the thing. None of these things that we've just said now are going to matter because there's going to be some fucking chaos somewhere that we don't expect.
yeah,
That's going to throw the whole thing up.
but it's Panthers, Sharks, Storm, Cowboys, Rabbits, Broncos, Raiders, Manly.
Nice.
There you go. In saying that, the gambling side of things, Parramatta are paying $1.15 for a top 8 finish. Manly are paying $5 for a top 8 finish.
Fuck. That'll change after this weekend.
So,
Get in now if you want to fucking reap the rewards.
yes. There you go.
Better than Bitcoin.
How's that? 2 episodes in one. Just cut this bit off and release it Wednesday. We're fucking done.
Are the 7 coming back this week?
Yes. Yes, they are. We'll talk about that shit in the news too, but it's so Dean Ritchie's such a fucking idiot. Like he said today, like, oh, the Manly players have fucking had a meeting without the coaching staff, blah, to smooth shit over. No, cunt. They have fucking a breakfast or a lunch every fucking week without the coaching staff. It's called fucking team bonding, and they do it every fucking week and have done it every fucking week. It's just fucking ridiculous.
Oh, I'm like that fucking thing I texted you guys yesterday. So, there is a clause in Des Hasler's contract.
Well, it's an extension that he agreed to earlier this season.
There's a clause that says if they make the finals, he gets an auto extension.
Yeah.
Right? And what it also means is it's not if you don't make the finals,
You don't
we're
get it,
going
yeah.
to punch you. It means
And like, And I'd heard on the radio. I heard on the radio, like literally that morning before you even sent that over, with Penn saying like Desi's got the job as long as he wants it.
Yeah,
like it's fucking just
so that's fucking usual business though. If these criteria's met, then this triggers this, and that goes on.
Exactly.
If they're not met, then all of a sudden we need to sit down, reevaluate where we are, and hopefully we're able to continue. But we just need to have that conversation before we do.
Yeah, exactly.
So, fucking hell. Anyway.
Fuck me, it's a long one. That's it for TWiL. So 483. Thanks for listening. As always, if you'd like to support the show, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TWiL Nation. Get in there, and I don't have my email open at the moment, so I'll give a shout out to a bunch of new members on Wednesday night, but we appreciate each and every one of you, and thanks so much for the support. And if you've got nothing else to add, boys, we will pull the pin and pick this up again on Wednesday.
Let's go.
See ya.
Later.